Hello, everyone. My name is Don Enright, and I'm a proud graduate of the CLA class of 1993, and I currently serve as the president of the College Alumni Association Board of Directors. Today, on behalf of the Alumni Association, I have the distinct honor and privilege of presenting Drew's Alumni Achievement in Business Award to David Lippman from the class of 1980. Now, I wish that we could be together today to honor David in person with a large gathering and mimosas, but I appreciate everyone joining us on Zoom, particularly my fellow board members and University President Mary Ann Banniger, to recognize and celebrate David's prodigious achievements. So thank you all, and I hope everyone has a drink in hand to toast David. I know I do. So just to provide a bit of perspective on the Alumni Achievement Awards, they've been presented to outstanding Drew graduates going back to 1956. The first Achievement in Business Award was presented in 1999. Today, the Alumni Association presents 9 awards annually to outstanding Drew graduates, and David joins the elite company of roughly 200 award recipients among about 20,000 CLA graduates throughout the history of Drew University's College of Liberal Arts existence. The Achievement in Business Award recognizes alumni who have demonstrated sustained, exceptional success in the field of business, outstanding character and loyalty to Drew, and have personified the fundamental ideals of the university. And David fits the bill perfectly. David is President and Chief Executive Officer of the CCW Group, a leading global asset management firm with $212 billion under management. Headquartered in Los Angeles, TCW has nearly 5 decades of investment experience in a broad range of financial strategies in fixed income, equities, emerging markets, and alternative investments. The firm's clients include many of the world's largest corporate and public pension plans, financial institutions, endowments, and foundations, as well as financial advisors and wealthy individuals. David was handed success. He earned it through long years of hard work, including his education at Drew, where, like me, he majored in political science. After graduating from Drew in 1980, David earned his Juris Doctor degree from Hofstra University. After finishing law school, he went to work at Drexel Burnham Lambert, where he learned the ins and outs of the financial industry and from some of the most brilliant minds in the field. After leaving Drexel, David was managing director at Donaldson, Lufkin & Jenrette, where he headed mortgage sales. And after leaving DLJ, he became the managing director of structured products at Credit Suisse First Boston. After CSFB, David became CEO of Metropolitan West Asset Management and president of Metropolitan West Funds. And finally, David joined TCW when TCW merged with MetWest in 2009. Today, David is regarded as one of the financial industry's finest executives. He's led TCW to extraordinary global growth, and his is truly a story of dedicated commitment to excellence and exceptional success. But beyond that, David is widely known as a kind, decent, and generous person. While he was at Drew, he was regarded by his peers as a genuinely nice guy. By all accounts, he's extremely devoted to his family. We just heard him speaking so warmly and with such deep emotion about his father. His daughters are the lights of his life, and his wife Jody, a successful attorney in her own right, is his partner in everything. I also understand that David has an incredible wine cellar. Probably a place I would have liked to have spent my COVID quarantine. And David has an abiding commitment to Drew and to the lifelong friends he made on campus and to the importance of liberal arts education and the life of the mind. David has been exceedingly generous to the university in so many ways, and the Drew community remains deeply grateful for his friendship and lucky to have him among our alumni. So this award is more than deserved and probably overdue. Congratulations, David, and thank you for everything you've done to make the world a better place and for all you do for Drew. So cheers, everyone, and David, I yield the mic to you.
Yeah, congratulations, David. And before I jump over to you, I know that President Marianne Benner would like to say a few words.
Thank you, Marianne.
Thank you, Carol. Thank you, Don. I want to just thank Don because I heard that he was had to do a little persuading to get David to agree to accept this award, and that says something about David. He's much more focused on doing good, being engaged, and David is an alum who I got to know a bit better than many, and I got to know Jody and some other members of their family. And there are so many things I could say about David in terms of his character and his intellect and his wisdom. But the thing that resonated with me most about David is that he knows his stuff. When he wants to get involved with something, well, the first time I really had a long conversation with David, he knew more about Drew than I did. We came to a table to eat breakfast, and he just continually peppered me with questions because he had done his homework. He's also just an excellent conversationalist. I've had the opportunity to see him interact with at least one of his daughters, actually no, two of his daughters, and with his niece. And I just see such a love and respect for family, as Don said, but also just a persistent lifelong commitment to the things and the causes he believes in. We're so fortunate, David, to have you as a Drew alum and to have you here with us and Jody with us supporting the university. Very, very proud to have you as an alum. Thank you.
Thank you, Marianne. Thanks very much. Oftentimes, well, actually, let me start by saying you're right that my wife and my four daughters are really the center of my universe. And towards that end, there's two different speeches that I give them, one when they start college and one when they finish college. When they start college, I basically tell them this is sort of the beginning of their lives, because what college is, no matter how you slice it, it's 60% social, it's 40% educational, no matter how you slice it. My youngest daughter pretty much spent all of her time in the library, and as a result of that, I think she missed a lot of college. Nonetheless, it was 60% social, 40% educational, even doing that, because she and she alone made that decision to live her life that way. So college is an incredibly important transition point in our lives. When we talk about a community, that community helps shape you. I can honestly say that when I left high school, I had no idea where I was going. The world was something that it was unknown to me, and more importantly, I was ignorant of so many things. The community at Drew shaped me and basically helped orient me towards the future that I faced. The most important aspect of that, and I've discussed it with Marianne, I've discussed it with Brent in the past, is I'm a firm believer of the liberal arts college education. Listening to Brent or Brian, the speaker before me, is probably one of the greatest examples of why a liberal arts education is so important. We sit here in June of 2020, and there's a comedian who did a skit about everything that's going on now, and she interviewed herself 3 months into the future. And one of the things that the earlier version of herself said was, I really think the wildfires in Australia are going to be the defining event of 2020. And then the later version of herself just laughed and said, yeah, you really would have thought so. Obviously, this year, probably like no other year, certainly in my life, and I'd go so far as to say in any of our lives, has taught us about the value of the unknown. I mean, to sit there and think about the forest fires in Australia, which were devastating, to think about something as dramatically changing to the entire world as COVID, and the social consequences that we have just seen with events in Minneapolis is probably one of the greatest testaments you could ever make for a liberal arts education. Because if you can't predict the future, the best thing you can do is to prepare for everything. And in as much as a liberal arts education doesn't make you expert at anything. It gives you a great degree of familiarity with pretty much everything. And that's a wonderful place to start. And that was really important to me. Additionally, the community at Drew was incredibly supportive and it was incredibly encouraging. And so I took courses in economics, I took courses in political science, I took courses in history, and actually I had the opportunity to have one of my old history professors here and doing a West Coast tour and a talk in our home. And it was wonderful in how it established a foundation for the rest of my life. And consequently, I had the confidence to apply to law school. Law school was terrific. It was a great education. The two great things I got out of it was the education, but most importantly, my wife. The fact of the matter is that established, again, using a liberal arts doctrine, it taught me about what I didn't want to do rather than what I did. So after law school, you have to wait to find out whether or not you pass the bar. And I practiced law for about 4 or 5 months. I knew I didn't want to practice law, but as soon as I passed the bar, the resumes went out and I went to Wall Street. And that too has been an adventure and something I think that I was well suited for because of my time at Drew. It was the unexpected every day. I always say, well, to this day, I say I'm a bond trader masquerading as a CEO. I don't sound like a CEO. I don't act like a CEO. Hopefully, I still sound and act like a bond trader. And by that, I mean I adapt to the circumstances as they change. And basically, the liberal arts education, again, is instrumental in doing that. I think that Drew, in particular, and before I move on with my remarks, is important because in addition to being a liberal arts education, its proximity to New York City is significant and one that should never be overlooked. And with those of you on this call, I think we have to work tirelessly to ensure the success of Drew. And it's really done amazing things for me. It's allowed me to adapt to changing circumstances, to make the most of them, and obviously to progress. I think Don's comments were very nice, and the fact of the matter is that for those of you on the phone and certainly Marianne and those of you who run institutions, that people don't work for you, you work for them. And so that would be sort of how I conclude my remarks. And then I think it should be more of a question and answer, if you will, is that, I view the job as CEO as very much of working for the 650 people at TCW. We're an institution that basically has been around for about 50 years. My introduction there was a little over 10 years ago when MetWest was acquired by TCW. Through circumstance, I became the CEO, and it's been something I've enjoyed tremendously. So with that, I'll conclude my formal remarks.